out there, everybody. Thank you for tuning into Blue Green's World. And on my quest to find very interesting people, I found a very interesting person today doing amazing things here in Northeastern Ohio and hopefully soon all over the world. So, who are you? What do you do?
Hey, I'm Jeff Klimm, also known as Mr. Jeff, the children's musician, former touring rock guy, former preschool teacher, former music teacher, now full-time children's musician. I create music, songs, educational, fun, empowering, entertaining content and songs for kids and their grown-ups.
So, now we get a little overview of who you are and what you do. Let's talk about, take it back when you were a child. So when did music, is this something that's been with you your whole life? Are you musically inclined? You come from a family of musicians? How does this evolve into you?
Yeah, so my parents were musical theater people, and they were huge into community theater when I was a kid. They were still doing musicals and plays and involved in Stowe Players, Hudson Players, Weather Vane productions, pretty much my whole childhood. So from age, 2 to 9, they were both very involved in doing shows together and separate. And I remember running lines with my dad at 5, or learning songs that they were learning or that other people were learning and part of productions. And I remember just being there for all these rehearsals, seeing all the work that goes into it, seeing it go from literally page to the stage in all the different aspects. I wasn't watching every one. We kind of had our run of the theater, but inevitably we would get in trouble and then we'd have to go sit there and watch the whole thing. So to me, the community theater players were like rock stars. They were up there doing the work. I got to see the work, and then I got to see all the productions and see what all the hard work would make at the very end of it. So it was very beautiful. It was very cool. We always listened to music. My dad played a little bit of guitar, and they were just always singing. Music was always a part of my household. Fast forward a little bit, my brother started taking piano lessons, and we had this keyboard, where I was more interested in the sounds that it made versus actually learning how to play it. So I was always tinkering with the sounds and putting on the little, it was one of those Casios that had a drum machine inside of it. So I'd put on the drums and I'd be like, oh, these bells sound really good with this disco beat, or blah, 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 just kind of mixing and matching. My brother actually learned how to play the piano, and I knew my way around it a little bit, not like he does though. And we were always listening to music in the car. And I didn't really pick up an instrument until I was 13. But before that, I had been in musical theater productions and in choir. So I was very used to singing and learning songs and seeing a brand new thing of music, whether it be on paper or whether it be I'm listening to it, I have to learn it, or I love this song. And we just kept going with music. So all of my siblings, I have 5 siblings. Well, there's 5 of us in total. All of us are musicians in some way. My sister is a professional dancer, but I always say she's one of the best. She's probably the best musician out of all of us,
Wow. So you've always been performing then since pretty much your memory.
Yeah. Not in this capacity, but it's always been about performing. I remember getting a really great part in my 4th grade play. I was a surfer dude, and I was the comedic relief. And whatever my line was, just hearing the whole crowd laugh immediately invigorated me, and I wanted more. So I found my thing, which was theater, and I kept with theater all the way through college.
Finding your passion is great, especially when it's supported. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's more supported today. When I was coming up, they didn't really push arts. My dad was an artist and never painted until I left for college. And he became this, amazing artist. Like, why didn't you do it? Well, I didn't want you to see that because it wasn't a feasible way to make money, is what the thought process was. But what I like to push out there is there's so many in the arts. So if your kid is into arts, they don't necessarily have to be a musician. They can be the audio person behind the scenes, the light person, which some of the stuff that you still do today, producing things. It's more than just, don't just think your kid's going to be Mick Jagger, which is great if they're going to be Mick Jagger or whatever, or, whatever the next Eminem or the next, Ozzy Osbourne, you name it, whatever it may be. It's more than that. So it's great that you were supported, it seems to be. And look at, so if your kid's into art, get into it. Support them. Yeah,
my parents were very supportive of all of our artistic endeavors, but they also, really, really drilled it in our head, like, hey, you could do this thing, but don't slack off. My dad has owned a business, been the co-president, whereas my grandpa was the president. So I saw him go to work every day, no matter what. And I'm like, hey, you're like, you run the thing. Why don't you take a day off? He's like, because that's not how it works. So he definitely imparted that work ethic very, very early on. Pursue these things, just work hard because it is going to be difficult out there and everybody wants to do this. So that was something that I realized very early on. And then also when I was in high school, when I started playing in a band, the parents must have gotten together, or maybe it was unspoken or whatever, but it was every Thursday, no matter what, is a rehearsal, is a practice. And then we have shows X number of times a month. So it became very much about the work ethic. And I learned that in high school. It was that was our soccer, soccer practices on Thursday, game on Saturday, no matter what, you're there. That was what it was like in my high school band. And so I really take that work ethic very seriously into what I do now, which is kind of the same thing, but now it's it is my business and it is helping support my family. So it really, really is about that work ethic because like they said, so many people are trying to do it. So many people have this artistic thing as a hobby, which is fine. This is not the case for me. So I really have to work at it every day, no matter what, in some aspect.
It's an important lesson learned for anybody watching this. I mean, you can get lucky. You can. Haktua girl, prime example. Got very lucky. Sure. Right place, the right time, and she took it her success got too big, too quick, and it killed her basically. She's not dead per se, but her popularity's gone.
Right.
So you could have dumb luck, but really, people that make it are really, even if they're adamant about it, getting in front of people's faces, talking to people, being that annoying contact. Hey, call. And a lot of us hate doing that. I know I hate cold calling. Gosh, but as you get up the scale, in time, you can find an agent. I'm sure you can do things that'll help that out. But yeah, you have to toot your own horn. You have to work hard at it. And you're not just going to, even if you're the best guitar player ever, the best singer, it really doesn't matter until you put that work ethic in and let somebody see it, you know, and get it out there to the roots of the people see it.
Yeah, talent is I want to say it's essential in the business, but not essential.
Not at all. I mean,
unfortunately, I think
charisma,
and what's more important is work ethic, because a lot of these overnight sensations, it took them 20 years to get that overnight sensation, to get that one thing that everyone knows them for or whatever. So,
and if you take that long, you're generally ready for it then, and you can continue to roll with it. And that's the thing. If you do find success, you get that viral video, that song takes off, and you be ready for it, because ride that wave, because that wave's probably not going to come again. I say it probably won't. It does come. There has been people where the waves hit them several times.
You'll never have that first wave again.
Yeah, exactly.
First impressions are important.
And I compare it to surf. I've never surfed in my life, but you got to be prepared when that wave coming, and you can see it with technology and so many different things. See it coming and ride with it. I guess we're veering off here. AI is kind of something that artists are seeing happen right now. My logic behind AI, it's like a wave. It's coming. You're not going to stop it.
Right.
You might as well try to use it somehow. You might as well try to embrace it somehow.
Right.
I'm not saying everybody should go out and embrace it, but there's a lot of interesting things you can do with AI that'll make your life easier, I don't know if you embrace AI and any of the stuff that you do or whatnot. And I don't want to give any secrets away behind anything or aspect, but I find for artists, for whatever, use it.
Yeah.
Use it, but don't abuse it, I guess we'll say. It's like a spice, you know?
I think that it can make some of the remedial tasks easier. I don't want to use it for anything necessarily creative, because I think that if you start using AI for creative purposes, you'll lose that muscle that you've worked so hard to build up. So part of the Recording Academy initiative, which I'm a part of, is to try and regulate AI within music, because we know it's coming and we know that it's here, and we can hear when it's AI because it doesn't have any heart, doesn't have any soul. So we're trying to regulate it in a way that makes sense and protects artists' livelihood, because can't we use AI to do the dishes or to do taxes or do things that like we actually don't like to do, versus like make poetry and make music? Like that is a human experience. That is, you can't get more human than expressing yourself and making art. So I let AI do it. I don't like it.
I agree with you 100% there. Like, have AI cold call for me, you know, if people use my voice and act like me, you know, I'm fine with that. You know, find me a job, find me business contacts, find me those kind of things that I hate doing.
Yeah.
Filling in the 5,000 characters on YouTube, which I hate doing. Yeah. That makes life a lot easier using that. In editing realms, there's so many things that I can like extend video that I need and extend audio and stuff that it embrace it. But anyways, I guess my point in bringing up is, yeah, as artists, you should embrace it to an extent. You know, don't become your only means and your crutch. Though, I guess auto-tune is AI, right? A form of it, or no?
Well, no, because there's still a human.
Okay, there's still this. You're right.
That is causing it to go and So it's a tool. Like AI is a tool. Auto-tune or Melodyne is a tool to stretch. It's basically stretching audio, but it's up to the engineer to determine the threshold.
I find it interesting how some artists have embraced it wholeheartedly and use it. You know, Post Malone, he can't sing without auto-tune on stage, and it's part of his sound, and it's part of that. Like my daughter, and I'm not knocking his music. I think his music's great. No knock on that. But I remember my daughter hear it. I'm like, I hear like a goat sound. Like, and it was
so that's his natural vibrato.
Is that in there?
Like
okay.
And actually,
does it like enhance it more, or
so vibrato is an involuntary thing. Like some people can sing long notes, legato, without any vibrato. Post Malone, his style, his involuntary legato is you hear that? That's not auto-tune. That is actually his vibrato. And if you listen to him sing, it's very pronounced. So on like some of his albums, the engineer actually like squashes his vibrato so it's less. Gotcha. So it's less apparent. And I noticed that because I sing a song of his called I want some help. Whatever that song is called. I've got some help, or I had some help is the name of the song. I sing that with my wedding band. But if you listen to the recording, the vibrato is squashed. If you listen to him sing live, it's very vibrato. But to your point, auto-tune is a part of his song. If you listen to that, like his sound circles, very auto-tuned.
There's some. It's not everywhere. But
choice.
And there's some voices like, you know, Cher used was the first one I think to really make it part of her sound. You know, and really you can hear that in there. But anyways, it's become part of our culture. You know, I guess they said it about turntables too. That's not an instrument. It is. I mean, it's just how you use it. You know, everything is an instrument is how you use it.
Yeah, and so I guess to your point, AI could be an instrument. Just depends on how you use it. I think a lot of us artists are reluctant to use it in a way that weakens our own creative muscles. I would like it to strengthen and not weaken.
I think it kind of sucks about AI is that you put your stuff out there in the world and it takes from you.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take your essence. If you have a very unique essence, it's going to take that. And it's going to use it. And that's really, you know, and I guess that happens to all art, you know, emulators, you know, you make something, a trinket of some sort in this country, and then all of a sudden someone in another country like, oh, I can make that for a nickel and sell it. And you can't do anything about it, you know, and that's just part of what it is. Okay, so let's go about some bands. You've been, I'm assuming, in a lot of bands through your musical endeavor. Let's talk about what your bands you've been through.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, my high school band, in high school, we were playing a lot of shows in Cleveland and beyond, and we did one full-length record, 2 or 3 EPs, and then we even released a live EP of board recordings from us playing multiple shows at Peabody's Down Under. So we essentially, every time we played a show, we bought the board recordings and then took the best ones from 5 or 6 shows and then put that out as a live EP. So we were very productive. That band was called Bird Avenue. I was in another band called Monoxide Lullaby, kind of a emo, screamo type band. And then I got into Made Myriad, which was my band for many, many years. That was the band that got me into touring. We toured and we played 41 states all across the country. There were a few years where we were basically on the road 1/3 to 2/3 of the year.
Is this in your 20s?
About 20s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were pretty productive, EPs, full lengths, stuff like that. The sound was evolving though. Our first record came out in 2007. It was like semi-prog, but more like indie pop rock, was with like prog tendencies a little bit. And then the sound evolved to more progressive rock when we started touring with some other type of bands in that vein. And then in my 20s, in addition to that band, I was kind of like a hired gun around Akron. And at one point I was in like 11 bands at the same time. So it was, since I'm a multi-instrumentalist, it was very exciting for me to be the drummer of this band, the bassist of this band, just the lead guitarist of this band, just the singer of this band. It was very exciting to get my chops up in all those ways. And it was a lot of fun. But being ADHD and having all those different things, it was progression, but it was like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. So I think like if I was doing what I do now and just finding my one niche and just focusing on that, who knows what the trajectory would have been. But when you get older, you start realizing and you're like, wait a minute, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have listened to this person's advice. Maybe. But yeah, I'm really excited to be aligned with one focus at this point right now.
So you brought up a topic near and dear to my heart, ADHD. I try to talk about it in every podcast out there. I was diagnosed with ADD, it was called, back in like late 70s, early 80s. As a child, they told my parents, they brought him in, they're like, look at his desk. My desk was a mess. He gets horrible grades, but he's very smart. His vocabulary is off the charts. Mm-hmm. You need to get him on, medication. And my parents were like, no, we're not putting him on medication. We're going to get child services. It was like a really big deal. Yeah. And I was never medicated. So, I don't know. Everybody has their different levels. Medication works for some people, doesn't. Since I wasn't, I was kind of like, they don't know what they're talking about. And it was never really, and I didn't think about it for the longest time until I was like 40. And all of a sudden it comes back and you're like, hi, I see these tendencies. I'm like, I thought that was my unique, quirky, bubbly personality. No, it's ADHD and slight tinges of autism to the nth degree. And you've had it your whole life. You just rewired your brain. Yeah. And then I started realizing, wow, I'm a lot different than everybody else. Mm. But on that journey, what I want to get into with you is, I also realized, if someone would have told me my 12-year-old self, I always think, someone would have told me at 12 years old some things, because I grew up in the 70s, in the early 80s, and everybody drank. Just drinking was everywhere. Right. My uncles, my aunts would show up to the baseball games with a cooler full of beer. It was in the back seat. That was just the norm, Yeah. And all my heroes were partiers and drinkers and stuff growing. All my relatives that I thought my cool uncle or whatnot was, and not my uncle particularly, but uncles, and you got that mentality. Right. So when I drank, I didn't realize that drinking and ADHD are like a horrible combination, because you feel normal, so to speak, quote unquote, when you drink. It's like riding a horse, it's like, and then your mind's like, you got to keep it up, because you're going to start feeling abnormal again. And then it becomes 1 and 2 and 3. And when you have ADHD, you generally drink more than other people. Yep. You consume more. So leading to you and your journey to sobriety. I'm a little over 5 years now, not drinking alcohol, and it's wonderful. And I recommend if you want to quit, find a way to do it, or just quit. And if you're really deep into alcoholism, get some help, but it'll be the best thing you want to do. So let's talk about your journey through ADHD and alcoholism, because I find it's a very common thing.
Right. Yeah. It's nothing that anyone hasn't heard before, but it is integral to my story. So I'd be happy to share. So I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 7. And they recommended medication. So I was immediately put on Ritalin, which at 7 years old, it stunted my growth physically and emotionally. So, and it's a tough drug to get off of for anyone, let alone a 7-year-old. So I took it for a long time. The doctors saw something and they're like throwing pills at it, and that's just what my life was. So that certainly developed a dependency on those types of things for many, many years. When I got into high school, it evolved into, alcohol. So it was the next step, really. It really was, from this Ritalin drug prescribed to self-medicating, either in addition to or, together. So when I got off of Ritalin, it was very difficult. I didn't understand that I was going through withdrawal. I'm like, I'm just a high school kid. What is this? So I needed to get to that normal again. And so that's where the problem started. And when I was in, I would say, going back to high school, we were under 18, usually, playing in bars. So my life was already attached to bars. That's where we would play. When I was in high school, I never drank in bars. But once I got out of high school and I started working, I immediately after high school went to recording school and started working in venues and studios right away, where substance abuse was normalized. You're working at a music venue, whether I was a door guy or a sound guy, there's drinking all around. You're working in a studio, sometimes there's substances there that are prevalent for creative purposes, And when I started touring, I would tour to bars. We would go to this city and go straight to the bar because that's where the gig was. I would come home, I'd go work my live sound job, which is where? In a bar. I'd have a gig, it'd be at a bar. So my whole life was kind of set up to be in bars. And it just kind of snowballed in a way that became unmanageable, which is what, AA says. Is your life unmanageable? Then you need help. Did my rock bottom look like everyone else's rock bottom? No, everybody has their own bottom. Mine was that I had my son, and I needed to make a change in order to be the dad that I needed and wanted to be. So it was very I was like, I have to stop. And I cannot stop for myself because I do not have the power to stop for myself. So it was my son that I was stopping for initially. It took a while for me to be able to say, I'm doing this for myself, because I didn't have the strength to do it for myself. So once I did get sober and got, 100 days under my belt, then it was okay, my life is changing in a really great way, and I'm starting to see a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel, which is it being easier. Because as someone who has quit alcohol, you get in your routines, you get in that rut, you get in that used to, this is just my routine, and it's fine. Even if it is fine, it's still your routine. So getting out of those routines, essentially, and this is why it's integral to my story, is I put everything into my son and being a good dad and learning how to be a good dad. So what I had to do is I had to do a full career change because I worked in bars. I was a sound engineer. That was my job, was going to the bar and making things sound good. And there was a little bit of time where I could be there and not drink, but then I just realized I need to do something else for a little bit until I get my bearings. So a friend of mine was a preschool teacher, and I'm like, that looks really, really fun. Like playing with kids and taking care of kids and teaching them. I was like, that looks like a really cool job. I could never do that. Well, why not? She says. And I'm like, well, I'm not like certified. I'd have one kid, but I haven't gone to school for any of these things. Like they wouldn't take me. And she's like, here's the application. Do the application and see what happens. So I did. I got the interview. I interviewed at the Shaw JCC of Akron, and I ended up working there 4 years. And it was like integral to what I do now. I would have never done children's music if I hadn't, one, taken the leap into teaching kids, and two, had a center believe in me just based on the conversation. Because my resume was all music industry. I had zero experience at that point in the childcare industry other than being a dad and wanting to do good and wanting to do something that was way less self-centered. Because, as you know, somebody that their job is to promote themselves, their job is to get other people to hear them. It's a lot of me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. So stepping outside of that and going into a classroom where it's not about you in the least. It's about 15 kids and how do I take care of this need? How do I solve this spill? How do I deal with this person who has sensory issues? How do I deal with this classroom and the dynamic of it all? So it was this puzzle that I had no idea I wanted to solve. But if you go back a little bit in my history, I'm the oldest of 5 kids and the oldest of so many cousins. I was the oldest, I was the first. And I didn't want to sit at the grown-up table. I wanted to hang out with the kids. I wanted to entertain them. So that part of me is ingrained in me and has always been there. So when my son was born and I had this opportunity to work with these kids in a classroom, it awakened that part of me that I was like, I have always done this, you know? I have always been like this. It's like, it was amazing. So it really was a turning point for me and really helped me focus on my sobriety because it was, rather than it be about me and my career, it was about my kids and all the kids that I was trusted to take care of. So it became easier once it was not about me. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a lot to unpack.
No, I don't want to put words in your mouth by any means, but a lot of times I tell people, I refer to it, I had to switch my addictions around a little bit. I'm addictive by nature, and that's I'm always going to be addictive by nature, and there's nothing wrong with that if you learn how to handle it.
Yeah.
The thing with ADHD, it's kind of like it's similar to diabetes, right? Except for you have to regulate your sugar intakes and your blood levels, right? When you have diabetes. When you have ADHD, you have to regulate your dopamine levels. And unfortunately, there's like no test of like, oh, my dopamine's a level today, I need this. I mean, I'm not knocking any type of test and making fun of that, but I wish there was like a little meter that like, beep, 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 you're a little bit low on dopamine, you need to do something, and you just got to figure out how to get it. Now, easy ways to get dopamine, have a shot of alcohol. Yeah, you get quick dopamine. Yep. Do some drugs, whatever. Those aren't ways to get good dopamine because they're not sustainable. Because you can't ride that horse forever, you know? You got to find ways like being creative, walking in nature, helping your children.
Right.
Teaching is an amazing dopamine hit. I taught for years for Upward Bound and taught at Kent State, and I love teaching. Yeah. It's like performing, you know? And when it's like, I never caught that bug as a little kid because my parents weren't into that kind of thing, but I wish they would have, because I love performing. I love being on stage. I mean, like people say they want to be a rock star. Let's do a Youngblood interview saying he was like, I just love the feeling of it. I love the crowd.
Yeah.
And you really do. So you can switch your addictions. They don't have to be doom scrolling. They don't have to be television. They don't have to be drugs and alcohol. They don't have to be, negative things. It can be positive things. I mean, do you feel that you had to switch your addictions around? And this one just kind of, it fell into that. It fell into, now you've created a whole career out of this. Yeah. And that's going to make you happy too. When you find a purpose and you find a need in life and a niche you can fall into and you're passionate about it, you'll find it. And if you're watching this, you just think about what you've been good at in life. Yeah. Go back to when you were like a kid in kindergarten and from where were you good at and find that. Right. You'll find it. If you're watching this, you'll find it.
Yeah, and to your point, it was like something paternal unlocked in me where it was like, wait a minute. I've always done this. I've always thought and talked about wanting to be a dad. And I've always hung out with my younger siblings or my younger cousins. I've always entertained them. I've always watched kids. I've always been the older cousin or whatever in the room full of younger cousins. So like it did, like you said, it did bring me back to when I was a kid. And I'm like, I've done this. I do have experience, just not on my resume, So when I was in the classroom, it was amazing because I'm like, I'm not even going to tell anybody that I'm a musician. I'm just going to focus on learning all about child development and learning all about what it takes to be a good teacher or what it takes to help out in this way and remove the me about it. But once they found out that I played, hey, bring your guitar. It was like, now I'm playing for this classroom of kids. I'm playing Wheels on the Bus, and they're loving it. And it is all joy, and it is all happiness, and it is all fun. And then the next classroom comes in the next day. Can you play that? Okay, cool. Well, I need something new. We're not just going to do Wheels on the Bus. So I started learning all these classics. It was one classroom, then 3 classrooms, then the whole school. Then it was every Friday. Then it was multiple times a week. Then it was music with Mr. Jeff. Like it snowballed and it became something that I just like found so much joy in. Now, as somebody who is creative, I couldn't just play the classics. I knew that I had to start writing. It just seemed like the next logical step because I had always written music since I was 14. That's always just been a part of me. So it was really fun to turn like the Raffi song just like into, hey, we're gonna write a song right now and we're gonna vamp. Or all of a sudden we're like, we gotta get out to the playground, but everyone's having a tough time getting out there. Cool, we need a transition song. Let's write a little transition melody to get us from point A to point B, and then we sing the playground song. So like, it just became a part of my classroom where it was like, just music is how we learn and how we do it. And now it's translated into this recording career and this content thing. And it's so satisfying to know that it is being enjoyed by kids, but also grown-ups. Because when I started listening to children's music, I found that, not all of it, but I found that some of it wasn't respecting the kids as listeners. They weren't believing that they could have good taste in music. It was very, very simple, not very well thought out music. Not all of it, but some of it was. And I really thought that as a musician, as a songwriter, I had something interesting to add to the space. And that would be good for grown-ups, because guess what? If the kids like it, the grown-ups have to listen to it 100 times. And there's some songs that my kids like that I'm like, this is a jam. I love this song. This is great. But there's also some songs that I'm like, I don't want to listen to this one again. this is too sugary sweet. It's just like a sugary zombie thing, you know? And that's not the kind of music, sorry if you're making sugary zombie music out there, but it's not the type of thing that I wanted to make for kids and grown-ups. And I'm not saying that I'm making Bach or I'm making Rush for kids, you know, like it's not that deep, like, but I think with my musicality, I'm using it as a way to educate, entertain, and also work through the child developmental pillars that I learned being a preschool teacher. So I really believe that it's great for their social emotional learning. It's great for their regular learning. And then I have a lot of songs that are like gross motor. We're running around. We're spinning around now, okay? It's good for their fine motor with some finger plays and stuff like that. So I really tried to intentionally hit all the child developmental pillars because music is a learning tool and it awakens all of the senses and all of the things that our that child developmental experts like. So, and I also do it with a side of silly because I'm a very silly person. So it's not all serious. There's just some songs where I'm like, the education is that it's okay to be silly and weird. And that's what this song is.
Wow. That's amazing to get into, to roll into that. So you first start doing, it's almost like this is a better version of School of Rock. A better version. I mean, no offense to Jack Black. Jack Black's great and all, but I like this story better. This storyline's a better storyline than that storyline, I think, personally. We can make a better movie out of this.
Well, we'll make School of Rock 2 featuring Mr. Jeff, and Jack Black will be the old, like...
I think music is great, because when I grew up, we didn't have enough music at school. I mean, you had a music class, and we learned to play a flute or something. There's nothing really, but it should be integral. I mean, personally, I'm a learner that likes to have music in the background. I'm a background music learner, and if I don't have background music playing or, like, noise, like... I can't learn. Silence is horrible for me. And there's a lot of kids
it's the worst for me.
And for parents that like think, well, I learned this way, I need silence. You force your kids to do that way, they're not going to learn.
Not everybody learns that way. That's one of the things that they teach you as a teacher is like, there are this many kinds of learners, and we're learning that there are more kinds of learners every day. So however you can learn is okay. We'll get there. You just need to be aware of that.
I love they have different levels. For the longest time, they had like either you could learn or you couldn't learn. That was like it, and that was like there were two classes of education, and they're nothing more. Yeah, it's progressed a lot. You know, let kids move around. Like I had to sit silent and still in school and not be able to move or tap my leg or tap my foot or do a stimming. It's called. You know, I wasn't stimming in any way, and I never learned. I would just drift.
Yep, same. Absolutely.
For people to understand stimming kind of grounds you to reality. You know, if not, your brain just kind of like. But the stimming holds you here. Yeah.
Mine is drumming. Or like, I mean, you've seen me over here. I'm just kind of like...
And and a lot of people are annoyed by that. Like I'm in the bleachers and I'm at a sporting event. I try my best not to move too much. I realize the whole place shakes when I'm there, and I don't want to be that person shakes. If I've ever been that person, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be annoying. It's just how I cope. But lately, I've been using headphones at noisy sporting events. That headphones really help. Help tone it down a bit so it's more manageable. So you start doing this in school. Then you start doing it in libraries. I mean, that's the follow it around. You're doing library, like a sold out tour of this whole northeastern Ohio. It seems to be. I mean, you played everywhere around here.
It's been a lot of places. So it was just at the school that I taught at, and then parents were like, "Hey, so when's your next live performance?" And for me, I was still pursuing my singer-songwriter career. So it was, for me, I would do children's music in the school, but never outside of the school. I would be pursuing my Jeff Klimm career, whether it's with one of my bands, Diamond Kites, or Jeff Klimm and the Letters, or Made Myriad. I would be doing that outside. So people outside of the school didn't know that I was doing this. So I really had to make a conscious decision where it was like, am I going to do this for real? Because I either do it for real and give it everything I've got, or it never leaves the walls of this school. And I still go with my other career, you know, because it's going to be tough to do both. And I saw that. So I booked one show as Mr. Jeff, and it was a huge success, and people loved it, and everyone was, you know, the people that have kids love it. The people that came to see me just to see what it was about loved it. Everybody thought it was great. So I decided to pursue it. And naturally, it was like, well, I got to make a record, because that's who I've been my whole life. I make songs, I make albums, and I release them. And I needed a record. So I worked really hard on this record, and I kind of road tested all the songs by playing libraries. And the library gigs just got bigger and bigger, and I just started getting more and more offers to play. And I'm like, I gotta get this record out. So I finished the first album, released it, and it immediately got like a ton of attention. And it immediately got, and it was the same year that I got into the Recording Academy. So I was able to shop it around to a lot of the other Recording Academy members, and it was on the Grammy ballot. So I got to like campaign for votes, which was, I had never done before. And I got to vote on other projects as my first year in the Recording Academy. So it was really, really fun to get feedback, not just from parents, not just from kids, but from other children's musicians that I had found who I deeply admired and respected. So to get the whole thing about the Grammys is people don't the general public do not decide who wins, or do not decide who gets nominated. It's the members of the Recording Academy, the music professionals that are working in it every day. That's what makes it more prestigious, is because it's not a popular vote. It's, does your project sound good, and can you campaign it to other members?
So do they find you, or did you find them? How does that work?
I applied.
So you have to actually apply,
Yeah. So,
and then they take the project from there. So Emmys and Grammys are
they don't take the project. It's, you have to do all the legwork to even get it on the ballot.
Okay.
And then from there,
then they go from there.
They don't take it. You have to campaign it
for the Grammys.
For the Grammys,
particular.
the Grammys in
wow.
particular. So I got on the ballot. I did not get a nomination last year, but it was amazing getting instant feedback from like very respectable people in the industry. That's what's different about the Grammys, is because it's all about the Recording Academy members deciding who gets nominated and decided who wins. So the feedback on my first record from people that I really admire and respect was outstanding, and really invigorated me to shoot higher and to go farther, because people that really, really are movers and shakers are like, hey, this is really good. You really need to do more. And I said, bet, let's do it. And then it got the attention of all these other awards, and we ended up winning like 9 other awards. Not a Grammy, just to let you know, not a Grammy yet. But all these other awards took notice, and it was really a shot in the arm for me. It's like, I can do this, because it kind of felt like I had to leave a part of me behind. Mm-hmm. I had this career that on the outside looked pretty good. My bands were doing well. My albums were doing well. I was selling tickets. People were coming to all my shows, whichever band it was. So I had this 20-year history of songs that I had built up, and this catalog, and these venues that I would play with my grown-up music. So I really had to make a choice to be like, this is on the back burner, because as ADHD people, we want to do everything all the time. And I've done everything all the time. And like I said, a little bit of here, a little bit of there, nothing ever actually goes up. So I had to kind of put that to the side and leave it alone, so that I really could just focus on this one thing. And luckily it is going up this way.
Yeah, it's you got to have all your activities in the music realm.
Yes.
But advice to anyone with ADHD, you got to narrow it down. I mean, you can only, to be a really master at something, you got to dedicate your time to it and all your time to it as much as you can. You can have other things. I don't want to say 24/7. You have a life, but you really got to put your effort behind it. And so try to focus. Yeah. Try your best to focus. I know it's hard to say. Try to focus. Is what I've been trying my whole life to do.
And try like that's what helped me. It was like I need to find instead of 5 different things, I need to find 5 things that will help the one thing. So like recording and mixing and mastering my own music, that's something I've always done. But I really put a lot of time into making the Mr. Jeff albums. Songwriting and performing, like those are all parts of the same project now, versus like I get my performing satisfaction over here. It's like, no, I still get it over here. And then the teaching, and then also like the thing about it that is, it's not about me, is what I love about this project. Because for me, the grown-up music was a way of me coping with things. It was therapy. Other people connected to it because they felt those things. Or they didn't connect to it, and it was just straight up therapy for me, you know? But with the children's music, it is not about me. It is for the kids and for the families that are going through these things. And I see it as a service. So I'm actively serving the kids in our community, the kids all over the country that listen to it, and the families that need that type of thing. So the difference between the grown-up music, where you have to constantly promote, versus the kids stuff, it's in service. So that was something that I never felt before as a creative artist. Like I didn't feel like it was in service to anyone other than myself. And go ahead, sorry.
I mean, as an ADHD person, you have to find your niche, and it might not be in a corporation somewhere. There might not be a job title for you. I mean, you kind of got to create your own job title. Even at a place you work at. I mean, even all the jobs I've ever had, I kind of had to make my own position there that was different from anything they've ever had. And it works, but you got to be able to work with somebody like that.
Sure.
So, the idea that you have it all kind of, you've taken creativity and you put it into one spot right now. And it's really working well. So back to the Grammys, question I had. That's a nationwide thing, right? This isn't like Northeastern Ohio Grammys. This is like the United States of America's Grammys, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So just people, you can do it too, coming from here, from Akron, and you follow his passions. And I'm assuming it's do you find this field less saturated than the field you were in before? Or maybe, I don't know anything, like maybe the kids' field is just as saturated as the other field. I have no clue. Where do you find an easier fit?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few thousand dudes with guitars singing songs about love and heartbreak. Maybe 10,000 around in Ohio, maybe. As far as children's musicians in Ohio, at least in Northeast Ohio, there's less than 5. So as far as Ohio goes, it's certainly less saturated. And it's filling a need that parents are desperate for. Because I remember before I started performing, when my son was like 2 or 3, just wanting anything to go to get out of the house. Anything. We would have loved to have somebody playing music that we could go and my son could dance around and burn off some energy and get ready for nap. We would have loved that. It's a need that I saw. And that's what we're doing, There's a couple of people doing this as well, but it's certainly less saturated. And the coolest part about children's music, Blue, and you're gonna love this, the coolest part is children's music is seen as a genre, but it's not a genre. It's a demographic. So I have had the opportunity of connecting with all these brilliant children's musicians from all over the world through the Children's Music Network, which I'm now the co-president-elect of. I'm very honored to be that. But they are the movers and shakers of children's music all across the country and internationally. And they're making children's music in every genre imaginable. So the diverse music that's coming out of children's music, that's in the genre of children's music, you could hear punk rock kids song. You could hear a really, really beautiful ballad with a full orchestra behind them, recorded at Abbey Road Studios, children's music. You could hear some brilliant hip hop, still children's music, still the same genre. It's a demographic. That's what I love about this genre is, to your point about potentially being saturated or not being saturated, you can find any style of music now in children's music versus when it used to just be dudes with guitars singing about rivers. It's not that anymore. There's so much more depth to it. So any kind of style of music that you want, any topic really of music for kids, it's probably out there. And like being in the Recording Academy, I get like one of my responsibilities is voting into the children's music category. So my new album is on the ballot, right? But one of my responsibilities is to listen to every album that is on the ballot and then cast my votes honestly. That's what's so great about the Recording Academy is like, if you take it seriously, you're gonna listen to all of it and then you're gonna do your vote. So I got to listen to like 150 albums the last few weeks, all children's music, all different genres. And it's some of the most brilliant music ever coming out for kids. So I don't think it's too saturated. I think that there's something there for everybody. As far as locally, there's not a lot of people doing it, but nationally and internationally, there's a lot of people doing it and doing it for all the right reasons.
Well, I don't like a lot of times when I interview artists, I don't want to give too much of their magic away, so to speak. Talking about this, I don't think it's a problem because, like, I mean, not to be crude, but most people, a lot of people make bands for specific reasons. They want to meet women, they want to party, or meet men, or whatever. I don't want to make it specific. They want to meet somebody. They want to meet someone that they're attracted to, and they want to party.
Cloud,
and that's
or whatever.
Of bands. I mean, Kiss. Yeah, the whole reason they became a band. I mean, it wasn't like, So I'm not giving away. This takes dedication, a love, and a passion.
Yeah.
And just because you're a really good musician that loves, kicking back and drinking some whiskey on stage and partying with the crew doesn't mean you can do children's music. So I'm not like giving anything away, I don't feel, by any means. It takes a whole overhaul. You're not going to have Motley Crue. You're not going to have Vince Neil, doing kids tunes next week, I don't think. No, it's Vince Neil. I just don't see it happening. I just can't see.
And listen, if he did, and if he did it for all the right reasons, we would absolutely welcome him in the genre.
Agreed. There's nothing wrong with it, and I can't.
Hear that, Vince Neil?
I love Motley Crue. Don't come after me, Vince Neil, if you see this. If you do see it, I'm doing pretty good.
Blue Green predicts Vince Neil's foray into children's music.
Motley Crue comes back as a children's band. Oh my gosh, that could be fun.
We'll call it Mini Crew.
So, are you okay on time? We are 55 minutes in.
I'm good.
Okay. So, you have one CD album piece out now, or do you have more than one at this moment?
So I have 3 albums out.
Three children's
albums.
Okay.
So the first one came out last year, but I did finish it in 23. But I held on to it until March of 2024. Sorry, what year are we in? We're in 25.
We're 25.
So 24, it came out. And then also that year, in October of 24, which was not a good marketing thing, but I made an dreamy piano instrumental version of that record. So it were those same songs, but I played them solo on the piano. designed to be more of a passive listening experience for maybe nap time, sleep time, study time. So that was its own full-length record. And then it kind of got lost in the mix because that was during, well, that's where we are right now in the year. So it was awards season. So it was confusing to some people who were like, hey, I'm trying to listen to your new record that's up for this. And I'm like, oh, ignore that piano record. Like, that's not the one. That's not the one. So, but my third record came out in August of this year. It's called Big Kid Stuff. And I think it's my best work in children's music, and maybe even anywhere. Like, I really put a lot of what I've worked on into this, and I think it's great. I'm really proud of it.
Now, this latest one, I've seen some clips with you working with your children, I believe.
Yeah.
So how have they incorporated to this latest CD?
So I like to think of the Mr. Jeff project as a collaborative project with my family. My wife, she does all the visual art for it. So all the album artwork, all the YouTube thumbnails, all the t-shirt designs, she does all that. That's kind of her realm. She's also like my biggest confidant. Hey, I got an idea for this. She's like, nah, I don't know about that. Or try this way or whatever. She's great to bounce ideas. She's an essential part of this project, my wife, Jillian. And then my 3 kids, they help with the songs. They help sing some of the songs, and they both have multiple writing credits on this new record. For instance, I have a song called Game Night with the Fam. It's a game show theme inside of a game show about board games. So it's all about games and game night. And that was born based on we love game night at my house. We love it. We love doing it. Like, man, this would be cool with a theme song. Let's write it. So my son and I got together and we're like, let's just think about all the board games we like. So the verses are really just us naming games. And it was a collaboration. There are a couple of songs where he helped write verses. And then there's a couple songs where my daughter, Junie, who's now 4, came up with things, wrote things, sang things. I asked her to sing parts. She sings lead, so they both have songwriting credits and singer credits on this record. And they're just outstanding. And they love being a part of it. And it's kind of like how we play. If they have a really good idea for a song, or like, my daughter walks around singing all of her actions, no idea where she gets that from. Me, obviously. We'll be like, she'll be singing something and I'll be like, hey, that's really cool. I go grab my guitar. I hear where she's at, and all of a sudden I got the chord progression. And then she hears it, and then she has 2 options. She's like, I'm gonna sing along and it'll be a fun game. Or she's just like, Dad, oh, no, I just wanna sing this. So some of the songs were born from that. Some of the songs were born from just me singing something and realizing that there was a need for an action song with this. And it's children's music, and it's amazing to have them involved in a creative way.
And are you doing videos and stuff too with them involved and things for that? Okay.
Yeah, so there's never enough time to do all the videos that I want to do, but that is an integral part of what I've been trying to do in the future. So
having a collaboration of some sort is very important. Mm-hmm. It's one of my biggest downfalls. I have no collaborate. I mean, I collaborate with people and do work and stuff, but I'm a one-man team. And I wish I had like someone to help with social media. And I was married at one time, not married anymore. And we worked together in those times, but we went our separate ways. And I kind of really wish this. If for any ladies out there that want to date a guy that wants to do this kind of stuff to help promote, the video field, please let me know.
Mrs. Blue Green.
Just to work together. I mean, I'm not saying I want to work with a business partner, but somebody that finds passions together. Passion. Sure. I'm a passionate person. I think all people with ADHD are passionate.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like passionate like I'm an asshole, but passionate like I really love something, you know?
Same.
And if you're dating with someone with ADHD, or you're married to someone with ADHD, they're gonna like unload all the stuff they love on you and talk to you about all the stuff, and they're gonna talk your ear off. I've been told so many times I'm too much and I talk too much and I go on and on. Well, I'm excited about it. I love those things. Yeah. So if you can find someone out there that's a business partner or a romantic partner, whatever, embrace that. That is special. I mean, I can't, and there's nothing wrong with it. We have this culture where like you can't be a husband and wife team working together, or a married couple of some sort, or whatever your pronouns are together. We can't have that. Why not?
Yeah.
It can be a powerful thing. Woody Guthrie, Arlo Guthrie, the whole Guthrie family, they're all working together, and doing their thing. Well, they were, but it's part of building something. So I really admire that. Keep it going, and keep that passion, that love, because that's essential. It's hard to do it. It's hard to do it by yourself, and it's nice to have a little bit of help. I wish I had more help. I also think I can get interns, but I do it all. I edit out of my bedroom. Literally, I have my bedroom and I have my editing station. I'm like, I can't bring interns into here to edit, So I wish I could. Maybe I'll get interns for social media, but I don't know. I don't like doing all the social media stuff, but it takes so damn long. But
building a team is my next step, because it's very much like, I do all the social media, I do all the music production, I do all the video production, I do all the outreach, I do all the performances, I do all the sound. So it really is like I said, I'm focused on this one thing, but with it comes everything. Right. So building a team is definitely the next step for me, because I need to relinquish a little bit of control.
Well, as a creative, you're an editor.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend a lot of time in front of it when you're doing your music editing. It's a lot of time working. I'm assuming, I don't know if you work in Adobe, but
you
probably life's all in Adobe, right?
Everything's Adobe.
And I'm in Adobe Cloud myself, and all my work's done in Adobe. And you spend hours upon hours upon hours. Mm-hmm. And so for people out there, when you see a video or a song released, and you see and you're like, oh yeah, you don't click on it, you don't like, watch that whole thing, even if it's in the background. Just watch it, put it on repeat, click like, send it to all your friends and family, because we put a lot of effort into it. And I don't try to look at the numbers, but there's nothing more. You spend so much time on something and it goes nowhere. And unfortunately, as a creative, most of your work's going to be that way. Unless you put the effort into it. And even when you do, it just takes a lot of time to get that snowball. You start a little light, and you push it, and then the snowball disintegrates, and you get disappointed. And you put it together again, it disintegrates, and then eventually you'll get one that rolls, and it takes off on its own. But be prepared, like we talked earlier, to get that next snowball going, because you've got to keep it rolling out.
Yeah, that's what I love about this line of work is, sometimes I look at my numbers and I get bummed out, but then I'm like, wait a minute, my last show was amazing, and there's 50, 100, 500 kids that left stoked. So that's about serving people, and serving the songs, and serving the kids, and serving the grown-ups. I try to not get too hung up on the numbers, but again, it's business, so that's part of it. It is a bummer when you put 15 hours into editing music video, and then you maybe your thumbnail isn't perfect, and all of a sudden it's it gets stuck in the 500 club, and you're just 15 hours and get the 500 views, So it is a little upsetting, but I've consulted with some people, and they're just you're doing the good work, keep doing the good work. And so whenever something flops, I just have to remind myself, continue doing the good work, keep it going, keep churning it out. But I've still, with this project, don't feel that I've churned out anything subpar. So to me, it's because some of my other projects in the past, I have churned out some subpar things, and it still bothers me. So at least, even if the numbers aren't where they should be, to me, and the integrity and the level of quality that I try to bring to this project, I have still maintained that level to me.
And also think of it as you're building a body of work, right? For people that will find it throughout history, as long as the internet stays on and doesn't get blown away and we lose all that, which could happen, you never know. But it's going to be out there for the world to see, right? I love the White Stripes, and I remember when I first found them, they had 3 albums, I think, when I first found the White Stripes. And then I could go back and whoa, great, they have 3 albums I'd never heard of, and it was wonderful. that's kind of what maybe will happen. You know, you put work out there and it will get recognized in time. And we as storytellers, because we kind of all are storytellers in our art, you know, we want our stories to be told and get out there. Because if not, it's like a whisper on the wind that goes away, you know? It's like, no one heard it. Ah.
Yeah.
But as long as one child, you know, specifically, because you got a lot of children come, they're going to change your lives. I mean, literally, that one experience. There might be a kid that comes from, you know, a rural area from around here that comes into this big city, right, for a day, and they're coming and they see you. They don't see anybody in that little rural town that looks like you, that talks like you, that acts like you, but they feel that connection. And they're like, it's okay to be a little different. Not that you're, I'm not trying to say you're different, but different from them.
That is one of my main messages that I want to impart, because I grew up different. I grew up that skinny ADHD kid. I'm tiny, I'm little, like I'm wild. You know, so it's really important. One of my main messages is it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be unique. In fact, that should be celebrated, because there's so many people that are trying to be not who they are. Being who you are and being your own unique self is the true rebellion and is the true way to find your path and find your happiness. So like, I love that people, you know, kids come up and they're just like, what's that in your nose? I'm like, well, that's a nose ring, buddy. And I got it when I was 19 and I still keep it around because I like it. And I don't know anyone else that has one. You know, my wife does, but like, I don't know any guys that have that. Or like, what are those holes in your nose? Well, when I was a kid, I thought it was cool to have big earrings, and now that's just what I look like, or whatever, you know? Like, I think our eccentricities and our uniqueness is what sets us apart and what makes you special. So that's a big message in my music. There's multiple songs on all my albums about how it's okay to be yourself.
That's good. That's really good, because as people with ADHD, we mask and we try to fit in, and we try like hell to fit in with everybody else, and it's not who we want to be. We want to be that person that's a little different, that dresses a little different, that acts a little different, that talks, you know, that just finds passion and is not afraid to express passion. And it does alarm me that we are down this road in this country that we're talking about autism and ADHD like it's a problem we're going to root out and solve.
Yeah.
That's what makes the world a better place, are people with ADHD and autism, because they make us see a different way.
Yeah.
They open up the world to things you never thought of. Yes. They change us in a positive way. 100%. And this idea we're going to go root it out, every great mind, pretty much every great mind is on that spectrum. Mm-hmm. We didn't have tests to test Albert Einstein. Mm-hmm. We didn't have tests to test Isaac Newton. But I guarantee you they're on that spectrum somewhere along the line. They all deal with the same problems we have today. Yes, the struggle to get going, the self-doubt, the questioning yourself, that's all been there. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're told from a young child, no, stop being that way. Stop being that way. You need to apply yourself. You need to tone yourself down. You're not normal like everybody else, and you got to no. Stop that. Stop making our kids be something that is idle. Right. This doesn't exist. The perfect little kid that you want to make doesn't exist. You know who's perfect? The kid you already effing have.
Yeah, they were not. I don't like and this is something that I learned being in the classroom, is there are some teachers that just want little soldiers. Mm-hmm. And there are some teachers that really, really harness a creative environment where everyone's able to be themselves and express themselves. And that's the camp that I want to be in. Because if everybody saw the world the same way, there would be no progression. There would be no Einsteins who saw something that was never there before. So like, you got to cultivate that creativity or cultivate those differences, because that's what makes the world interesting. I'm with you on that.
And these children are all around. We know them right from the time they enter school, who the children are, and maybe we need different programs for these kids that hinge differently for them. And because as a teacher, it's hard to teach all the different styles and reach every kid equally. And then you got parents who are like, well, you spend so much time on this kid and on this kid. Well, just the way. But if we had maybe that these kids are a little different, and we're going to put them in this program that's an accelerated program on their level. And other kids are going to be different. I don't want to create class systems. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but we should definitely foster these kids, not try to make them better in your eyes or correct them to what you think is right. Because you're going to have little zombies walking around. Because you can really mess a kid up by giving them a lot of drugs that's going to make them better.
I've been there. I have been there.
And, because it's weird about with ADHD, it's the speed aspect that calms ADHD people down. Like I consume caffeine. Caffeine is my drug of choice.
Right.
And people are like, well, how can you drink caffeine? I can drink 2 cups of espresso and take a nap because my brain is calm.
Yeah.
And they don't know why that really happens. I don't think they don't really understand. They just all of a sudden gave speed to kids and they realize, oh, they act normal.
Right.
Why that happens, we don't know, but find your way to learn, learn the way you learn, not everybody else. I thought I was stupid when I was in my 20s. And I don't want to say stupid. I felt I couldn't learn until I learned how to learn my way, so to speak.
Right.
And I think if I would have had good art teachers and good teachers, I had some good ones, but like music, we had none. If I would have, because music is so intricate, we don't really, it should be a part of the classroom 24/7. It should be so much more. So I want to talk, I got a couple more things I want to talk about.
Okay.
Wedding, you do weddings, right?
Yeah.
So I like that idea because you'd probably be a really fun wedding. You're probably a really fun wedding band.
Yeah, so I manage and produce and run sound and sing and perform at weddings it's my other job in the music industry. So the cool thing is, and you'll laugh once you hear it, it's the same job. Making music for toddlers and kids, performing music for drunk people at a wedding. It is the same job. It is the same job, and sometimes you could play the same songs. So no, I absolutely love it because I went to school for vocal performance. I'm like a musical theater rock singer. Mm-hmm. So like singing Motown and singing all that high tenor stuff is totally in my wheelhouse. So as like a trained singer, it really, really, satisfies that part. As a trained sound engineer, I'm getting to run sound for this group. And as a performer, it's a really, really great gig for me. And it helps, they both help each other out, and it's the music industry, so you can't really just do one thing right now. So it's 2 sides of the whole, which makes it that I can support my family and myself.
It kind of got some brilliant built-in marketing there too, right? You have the wedding, you send them a little follow-up, say, hey, I'm Mr. Jeff, here's
hey,
my
when you have
card.
kids,
You
can have your wedding singer,
Yeah, you have your anniversary / kids' birthdays together with me performing. There's just just always thinking. So we've talked a lot today. We've covered a lot of your life here. Is there anything you want to bring up that I haven't talked with you about?
Let's talk about you.
Oh, me.
Let's talk about you. Listen, you've been working really hard for a long time telling other people's stories and telling your own story in the process. And I love that you've had the platforms, whether it be on TV and now on this podcast. Like, I think that you've always been like a rock solid storyteller. And I really love how you've had this vision, and you're coming up on 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. 10 years of stories being told, like, that's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
And the fact that you do it, because my job is all about community. Whatever my job is, kids or weddings, it is all about the community, making the community better, getting out into our community. And that's the same job that you have. You getting out into the community, telling people stories. And I think that's so important and so underlooked in a lot of ways, because telling our stories is what makes it real,
I would love to have a spot in town where I do this 3 times a week. People come in and they're going to sit down with me and we're going to talk, and it's produced by people, so I don't got to do it all.
Yeah.
And I can just be what I do best, just talking to people.
Yeah.
I'm good at doing other things too. I mean, you have to be my videos don't magically look really good and they don't sound really good because I shoot with great cameras. There's a lot of effort that goes into make it. But I really enjoy this part more than anything else. I get the best, I feel after doing this, it's therapeutic. It's the best I can describe it. Because I'm doing good for the community, but it's also, and we talk, it's good for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not about me, but I get a lot out of it. And I get a lot out of it because it goes back to the dopamine. I really enjoy this. And I enjoy lifting other people up. And that's a big topic that this whole show is. When this one comes out, is Wesley talked about lifting people up. Yeah. Back Love lifts people up. Right. That wasn't a theme with Amy's things, but her artwork lifts people up in the community. She's teaching people how to do artwork, and that really helps out. So if you're finding, you need a place to put your creativity, find your spot. Find people that'll work with you. I mean, I'm not saying a bunch of people call me to work, but I can't pay you. But when we can make something work, I mean, I'm all about building something bigger. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, because I hope to talk to more people and do bigger and bigger things. But yeah, this is 10 years, 100 episodes coming up. That blows my mind. I mean, I got right now, you can watch Around Akron with Blue Green for over 40 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
You just sit down and watch the show.
That's a huge breadth of work, man.
A lot of people some people have died through the years that I've interviewed. That's been kind of sad. I'm getting their last interviews, caught. And a lot of businesses are still there. I'm visiting businesses that have been there for 10 years now. I went back to Rialto recently. That was kind of cool, seeing those guys confirm what it was when it was plywood building outside. I'm like, trust me, you want to go to this place. And you go through this weird door, and now look how big that place is. Really and I've seen you all over the place doing audio through the years. Seen you play through the years, and I really enjoy this element you're doing now. I mean, not that the bands, those are all great and those are fantastic, but this is so much deeper and so much bigger. And
it is way bigger than myself, which is what I could not accomplish with the grown-up bands, because it was about me, or it was about whoever's in the band. This is about the community, and it's about the kids, and it's about the parents, and it's about the synergy. So I realize that it's bigger than myself, and it's outstanding that it could be. It's just the possibility of it is so wonderful.
Got to talk about this. I can't forget about this aspect. I make a television show. That's what I do. You make Mr. Jeff. That's what you do. You're Mr. Jeff, I should say. You don't make Mr. Jeff. You are Mr. Jeff. You've created this whole personality. You've created this music industry. We should somehow make a television show, right? PBS watching this,
What do you think, PBS? What do you think?
I mean, television shows are simple. I mean, people are like, oh, it's all this work, you TV show. It's a simple formula. Yeah. The hard part is finding the formula. Yeah. Watch all my episodes. It's all formulaic. Yeah. Every segment's formulaic. They've changed through the years. I've spiced it up. I've changed things. But it's basically a little bit of audio, you have a little bit of blank space to think about it, a little bit more audio, a little bit of digestion point, you tie up and you do an arc. Right. They're all the same thing, right? So once we figure out the format for whatever Mr. Jeff show it's just a matter of doing
Let's chat about it.
Now, do you take it to the level of Mr. Rogers and you do I think he did a daily show, right? He did
a daily show for 20, 30. I mean, he was
prolific.
Absolutely prolific, and never had a bad episode or never had a bad moment, because he was so sincere in everything, and he had the dream team. So, naturally all children's musicians get related to, the rock stars of children's music, Mr. Rogers, Raffi, and all those people, Laurie Berkner, all those people have one thing in common: longevity and a huge catalog of work. So for me, I want to have that, and I want to build it to a point where our impact and visibility can reach as many people as possible, because I believe the message is clear, and I believe the message is important, and it's all kid-centric, and it's all kid-first. So like, why I share my struggles openly, not in kid platforms, but why I share my struggles is because I've lived through some stuff and know how to deal with it. Therefore, and Mr. Rogers dealt with those things as well. Mr. Rogers dealt with some very extreme struggles when he was a kid, and it made him who he was. He had chronic illness for many years of his life when he was a kid. Couldn't go out and play and hang out. Then he got over it and realized, but he used that time to work with puppets and create these worlds and get his imagination going. And it served him and the world, generations of children so well. So to be even remotely in the same conversation of these titans that I grew up on and the whole world grew up on, to be even remotely in the conversation is we've done it, you know.
And the beauty of PBS, you know, you get on a local PBS Western Reserve is a local branch around here. You know, you get on there, that can be picked up by PBS nationwide, right? Yeah. So that's how PBS, it came out of Pittsburgh, I believe is where he was at, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Pittsburgh, absolutely.
Yep. And it got picked up all over the world. And, you know, in a world of hyper masculinity, you know, growing up in the 60s and 70s with Dirty Harry, you know, Punk, you know, he taught me kindness. He taught me compassion. He taught me that, you know, you don't have to be this tough guy all the time, you know. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotions. You never heard that anywhere growing up for me. Never. He never was always, I'll give you something to cry about, to whereas it's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotions.
That's part of the human experience. Yeah.
And we need to facilitate this. Children, I mean, I know it's cliche, but they are the future, and it's hard to start with, you know, people once they're set in their ways. So if we could reach a whole generation of children. So, I mean, and it just takes, it takes a pilot. And it does take some cash if people do have some money, because it does take a lot of time and effort to study, because you have to study your shows, figure out where the market is, what you're going to do, how you're going to make it different.
Right.
But once you have it, it's brilliant. In every kid's show, and every show for that matter, it's just a formula they follow. It's the exact same episode, the exact same way every time. And the other thing that I recently found out, which blew my mind, was the piano player did a different variation every day.
That's Johnny Costa.
Woo!
So he every single episode, he played live, like him and the Johnny Costa trio played live to Mr. Rogers during the taping of every episode. So he would be watching Mr. Okay, well, Fred hasn't gotten his left shoe off yet. I cannot change to the next theme. So he's doing it. He sees him getting ready for the shoe. There's the toss. Like it was extemporaneous. And Johnny, and to be fair, I always tell this story to musicians that I love, especially keyboard players, like how I learned about jazz was through Johnny Costa and Mr. Rogers and Vince Guaraldi in Peanuts. So I always think about that when I view it from the eyes of a child. They're gonna learn, like maybe they've never been, and a lot of times kids come to my concerts, the parents are like, this is his first concert ever. And I always think about, like, what's the impact that we're leaving? What are they leaving with? Are they gonna wanna go home and play a guitar? Are they gonna wanna play the drums? Are they gonna wanna, like, do something completely different? Whatever, you know? Like, it's amazing that we could even potentially have that type of impact, like the Titans that I was impacted by growing up.
I mean, having live music for a show is incredible. I know Family Guy does it, and there's like a few other. It's not like it's mostly stock music is thrown in there, or you buy music, but having live music is. I think it's all essential. If you do this, and I think you should shoot it live instead of editing it, because editing is a pain in the ass. Let's be honest. I mean, I used to think, well, we'll just edit, but if you can get it done live, on the fly, have a band playing there right with you. Brilliant, you're done.
Oh, it'd be
you're
so
done.
nice.
You wrap up the credits, you press done, and it's done. You don't get to take it back and edit it. Oh, wonderful.
A couple little, like, color grade it just a little bit, and then a couple little edits.
Minor audio edits, but nothing too extensive, you know, and it's all ready to go. That's the plan, and you can get it done in, I mean, there's time and planning every week to make it happen, but within an hour, you have a 30-minute show recorded and done. Well, within 30 minutes, actually. But it's, the prep before, the prep after, all the planning, get it done. And there's a lot of work that goes into it, but PBS has a studio you could switch live in. I mean, I created a smaller studio, too. There's all these options are there. It's just a matter of, does someone see this and want to throw some cash out? Literally, I mean, we're good bets. It's not like we're bad bets. I mean...
It's one of the first bits of feedback that I got from like, I don't remember, it's just happened too many times to even count, was when's the show? The music is great, the performances are wonderful, when's the show? And so it's definitely part of the vision. It's part of the vision, the show. So let's figure it out.
And then you get your 100 episodes, and you can sell it and make money off of it. You can do so many ways. Movie.
Hey, in 10 years, we'll be back here doing the interview. Like, so we're on Blue Green's 200th episode and your 100th episode.
I'm going to actively try to pursue this. I have pursued other shows at PBS in the past. And I've been turned down. I've pursued pilots and made it for them and got so far, and then they're like, well, we don't want to do it. And it is. It's a real bummer, but I never went children's programming, and children's programming is something special.
It really is.
And that's something we're lacking.
It's special when it's made with the correct intent. And
exactly.
like that whole too sugary, sweet zombie type thing, like that is not something that I want to make. But that's what I love about PBS is a lot of their stuff is like has true, clear messaging, true educational components. So, Mr. Jeff and PBS and Blue Green sounds like a winning deal.
I think and that's not the reason I did this interview. By any means, I've been, since I first saw him get in, I go, yeah, he needs a television show. That's where it needs to be. Was my first thought process. But I think like that all the time. Yeah, just the nature of the beast. But we should see if we can make this happen. I think that's a good thing. Okay. So we are at 88 minutes. Woo, look at that! Like an hour and 20 minutes into an interview. That's what I mean. Well, I thank you for making the time today. First off, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for your watching. If you watched the video this far, I love you. I love you.
And I love you too.
Go down and like, subscribe, share to friends and family. Everybody, please. That's how we get our stories out there. And thanks for making time today, Jeff. I could talk for hours, but this is what it's about. Long form interviews are very important, I feel. Yeah. You really get to and people will listen to this. People will put their headphones on, and I'll do my best with the audio and we'll make it sound good. We got a noisy room here, but I get good microphones and good noise cancellation. Yeah. And we're running 2 mics, so syncing those and this can be difficult sometimes. Get you understand. It's weird. Like videos, you get a frame here and there, and it's difficult. Yeah. The little efforts we got to go through. But anyways, we've talked your ear off, and we could talk more and more. And maybe, we'll talk again somewhere along the line.
We'll talk again, for sure.
But Mr. Jeff, I should refer to you as. Mr. Jeff, thank you for making time for me today. Thank you for really doing what you do. I mean, we need more people like you out in the world. Hint, 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 you watching this show that has ideas and you have visions too. Do this. Do it. Go do it. Go make it happen. As long as it's something good that brings positivity to the world. Have to note on that because people will take negative things and make them good. Right. And go their own ways too. Yeah. Positive things that are good for everybody in the world, not just for you and your kind or whatever, That's what I try to push. It's got to be specific sometimes. Anyways, thank you for watching this episode of Blue Green's World.